Well, Mondays are usually the most boring day starting the week, but as always, I intend to keep your Mondays fun and exciting. Now, as you know, we continue with more with New Japan Pro Wrestling's New Japan Soul, but this one had a very interesting co-main event. It features, of course, the play-in match for the opening spots in the G1 for both the A block and B block. But however, one person will get a spot from one of the two open spots in the A and the B block. So we're going to see who will be actually making it through. But first things first, as you know, I've been behind on some of the Yoshi Wrestling events, most specifically the Sendai Girls. Now I'm going to be reviewing, of course, from two events from last May, of course, featuring their show in Shinkiba, and then, of course, from the Sendai PIT. So we're going to see how things took place, but not to mention, as you know, these events are right after, of course, Meiko Satomura has retired since then. So we'll see how things will progress from here on out. But as always, we will cap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but like promotions from Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough with the yapping. It's time to go full speed ahead. So, let's begin with one of the Sendai Girls' recent events from last May at the Shinkiba First Ring. Okay, Sendai Girls. This took place back in May, on May 11th, in Shinkiba First Ring. Now, this is, of course, the first show that will now doesn't feature Meiko Satomura ever since she retired late April. So we'll see how things will go, but I'm sure we will have some good matches along the way. Now, our first match, we have Yuria Suzuki taking on Yuna. Now, many people would say, of course, Yuna is the hometown girl, basically the inbred in Sendai Girls, but however, she is still lacking a bit of what she needs to do in order to pick up the win. Yuria Suzuki, well, I have to say she picked up a fantastic win when she applied a bit of a pump kick onto Yuna's face, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Next up, we have Shin Sakura Hiroda taking on Lady Destroyer Hiroyo Matsumoto. Now, when it comes to Hiroda, we all know she is a comedic wrestler. She'll put her little thing right behind the butthole, that sort of thing. But however, when it comes to Lady Destroyer, she is all business. And I'm sure she hasn't forgotten the certain things that, of course, Hiroda had done to her in the past. But this time she get a bit of measure of that revenge when she chokehold her. But Hiroda did not tap out. But unfortunately, the ref had to make a hasty decision to call the match, and just like that, it was over. And of course, Matsumoto, Lady Destroyer, walked away with the grin on her face with the victory. Now, our next match, we have Zones. She teams up with Ryo Mizunami. They take on Yurika Oka and Manami. So basically, we have two wrestlers who are in fact, one is from Evolution and the other one is from, of course, a freelancer, while they take on two of the homegrowns in Sendai Girls, Yurika Oka and Manami. So I think the match was pretty good, not to mention we were seeing a bit of more of what Oka and Manami can do, knowing that they can make things happen. But it was Manami who picked up the win onto Zones when she applied a diving body press onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Next up, we have Sadie Gibbs. She teams up with Elayna Cross to take on 200 kilograms Yu and Chihiro Hashimoto. So basically, you probably can guess how that's going to be. I mean, we have seen Sadie Gibbs. She's a fantastic wrestler. Not to mention her doing like that corkscrew off the ring. That's one of the things. But in the end, it was, of course, Hashimoto with a big power bomb onto Elayna Cross. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But however, Hashimoto decided to do a little post-match promo. Don't know what she said, but I'm sure she is still feeling the effects of that. It's saddened that her mentor, and of course, the person she defeated for the Sendai Girls World Championship, will no longer be wrestling with them. But I'm sure she'll carry the spirit on with her wherever she goes. But we'll see how that rolls up. Now, our main event, we have Takumi Iroha teams up with the hardcore queen herself, Dash Zako. They take on the current Sendai Girls Tag Team Champions, Red Energy, Miyuki Takase and Mika Iwata. So you probably can guess how this is going to go. Now, we have seen Red Energy, how cohesion it can be. But when it comes to Takumi and Shizako, they have to work together despite the fact they're from two different promotions. But somehow, in the end, it was in fact Takumi who picked up the win onto Iwata when she applied a victory roll of some types. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, in the post-match, you would have assumed that Takumi and Shizako will definitely try to have the mic. However, as always, with her disrupting what happens in the ring, Unagi Sayaka showed up, and basically, she has issued a challenge for the current Sendai Girls World Tag Team Champions, Red Energy. But her partner is Yurika Oka, who will be standing with her. Now, some of you may question why. Now, when Unagi first appeared in Sendai Girls, Yurika Oka teamed up with her before, and that kind of led to that. And of course, they have faced off each other countless times, but in the end, Oka respects and admires Unagi from what I can see. So this is going to be an interesting thing. So I can't wait to see how things will roll up with Unagi and Yurika Oka. But they will team up in the next one, which is, of course, the next review we're going to do in at the Sendai Pit. So let's get to that. We continue with more with Sendai Girls. As you know, I'm a bit behind on this one, but we're going to catch up as soon as possible. Now, this event took place back last May on the 24th at the Sendai Pit. Now, the main event features, of course, tag team action, but we'll get to that. But let's start with the first match. Well, first of all, we did see, of course, Meiko Satomura applying a promo. Don't know what she said, but I'm sure, as you all, I want to make things a bit more clear and more to clarify. Meiko Satomura is not wrestling anymore. She will continue to be the promoter of Sendai Girls. As you know, she's the one who founded this promotion. That's exactly what she's going to do for the remaining of her life until maybe she retires from running it. But who knows? But yes, so she will be involved in the behind the scenes type of thing. So in case anybody asked. But enough of that. Let's get to it. Our first match, we have tag team action. We have Honoka. She teams up Honoka from Wave. She teams up with Yuria Suzuki to take on Yuna and Johnny Robbie. Now, for those who don't know Johnny Robbie, she has appeared in many promotions, mostly with West Coast Pros. So basically, you get the gist. But how was this going to end? Well, I wasn't too sure. But in the end, it was Honoka who picked up the win on a bridge by Yuna. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have Miyuki Takase taking on Ryo Mizunami. Now, Miyuki, I'm not going to lie, she is a fantastic wrestler. She knows what she's doing. But when it comes to Ryo Mizunami, she's the type of person she likes to have a bit of fun, but she goes a bit serious with her energy. But it was, of course, Mizunami that picked up the win with a driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Our next match, we have Manami versus Mika Iwata. Now, I have to say, Mika Iwata, I'm not going to lie, she is a fantastic striker. She is the type of person who's not BSing. But Manami, we have seen her, how much she has grown. I mean, she has stood up with the top wrestlers, not to mention participating last year at the 5-Star Grand Prix, and so on and so on. But in the end, it was Mika Iwata with a driver of her own that picked up the win. And of course, after that, Iwata did a post-match promo to talk. I don't know exactly what she said, but I'm going to say I think she has something in store. I'm not sure, but I'll just speculate. But we'll see. Now, our next match, we have Sadie Gibbs. She teams up with Amira. They take on Team 200 Kilogram, Yu and Shihiro Hashimoto. Now, of course, when it comes to Team 200 Kilogram, you know that they are a team that are strong and powerful with their powerhouses. That's exactly one of the things that they have to be more clear. Now, of course, like always, with their great cohesion, those two are, it was, of course, Hashimoto with another power bomb on Amari, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Our main event is Yurika Oka teaming up with Unagi Sayaka to take on Ryawa Ultima Powers, consisting of Hiroyo Matsumoto and Shizako. Now, I'm going to see. Now, many of you who probably ask yourselves, J-Rod, weren't they issued a challenge for the tag belts? I think this is one of those matches where they have to prove themselves that they earn it. But we'll see, because when it comes to Lady Destroyer and Dash, they are a very cohesion team. They have teamed up a lot longer than Unagi and Oka. I'm not gonna lie about that, but it's just the matter of facts and what I've observed. But you probably ask yourselves, there is no way Oka and Unagi could pick up the win. Well, you are absolutely right, because it was Dash that picked up the win with a frog splash onto Oka, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But during the post-match promo, we did see Red Energy, Mika Iwata and Miyuki Takase, making their way. I'm sure that they're gloating with the fact that, of course, Unagi and Oka could not pick up a win. Now, I'm not sure if, of course, Red Energy will just grant them their tag team title match, but I'm not sure. I mean, it's like almost similar to what Hana did when she gave Waka Tsukiyama the opportunity for the future belt, despite the fact that she did not have any results whatsoever. But, of course, Hana gave it to her because she asked her a simple question, which was, do you love pro wrestling? Of course, Waka responded, yes. But in this case, as you probably know, the reason that I would think that they may or may not give them a tag team title match was because, A, Unagi, she likes to disrupt things, jumping into people's houses in a way, but that's pretty much who she is. But we'll see what happens. If that becomes official, then I'll let you guys know. But as of right now, we are officially done with Sendai Girls. Let's move on to our last and final review, and that is, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, we continue with New Japan Pro Wrestling. As you know, we are getting closer and closer for the upcoming G1 Climax. Now, before I proceed on, I want to put something clear for all of you. Now, before today, they announced the names of every participant. However, there are two open spots available, of course, from both the A block and B block. Now, there's going to be matches involving who will get those open spots. So they started out with one match each, with one for the A block, one for the B block. Those are our co-main event for the day. But let's get to it now. Let's jump into the first match. We have, of course, Hung Tai, consistent with the Young Lions, Katsuya, Murashima, Shomakota, Master Wato, Yo, and Toroyanu taking on the House of Losers. More specifically, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Doiki, Sho, Yujiro Takahashi, and Ren Narita. Now, when it comes to, of course, the House of Losers, they like to cheat. They like to use their weapons in order to get what they want. However, that might have cost them because apparently this is what happened. Sho, Doiki, and Kanemaru, Ren Narita, they tossed, of course, their weapons onto Wato, Yo, and Yano. Now, the referee's like telling them, they whacked us with the things. And then they're like, trying to tell them, no, we didn't. And then, of course, like, what the hell? They just whacked them with it. And, of course, Chris Carlton was happy about it. Well, I like this even better. Well, here's the problem, guys. House of Losers should have known better that they were going to whack them because they had enough of them. Because House of Losers have been nothing but a problem. But the best part, after they disqualified themselves, well, Yo, Wato, and Yano, they decided, you know what? Let's take these belts. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, here's the thing. When it comes to belt stealing, the House of Torture are saying, look at what Evil did to Sonata when he was the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. He's declaring himself that he was the actual champion, not Sonata. Well, bullshit. Nope, it wasn't because they stole it. But when it comes to, of course, Yo, Wato, and Yano, they're like, well, we'll take them. They're ours anyway, because in a way, they're like, these are not yours to begin with. So that sort of thing. And I'm sure right now, everybody's throwing temper tantrums about it, cussing and all that. Well, they deserved it, but yeah. Now, speaking of the House of Losers, we have the other members. We have, of course, Sonata, Don Fale, Chase Owens, and Evil, along with that F and Dick. They take on Tomoaki Hamna, Tiger Mask, Togi Makabe, and Yoshihashi. However, a very interesting situation has mentioned throughout this match. It appears that Yoshihashi and Chase Owens will be competing for an open spot of the G1 Climax. So basically that's what's going to happen. But in the end, of course, this match ended with F and Dick throwing powder onto the eyes of Hamna, and then Evil applying everything as evil. But of course, that is how they picked up the win. But in fact, we are going to see Yoshihashi and Chase Owens compete for the open spot in the G1. So, as you know, there's two more open spots left, both in the A block and the B block. So, we'll see how things will go from there. Now, our next match, we have the United Empire, consisting of Jacob Austin Young and Grado Khan taking on Ryosuke Taguchi and Yuya Uemura. Now, of course, nothing too special about this. But I can tell you that this match ended with what? People saw it was the High Fly Flow, but it was renamed as the High Fly Attack by Yuya Uemura, and he applied that onto Jacob Austin Young, and that's why I have to say the name, it sounds fit, because the opponents that Tanahashi uses are on the ground, but when the opponents are up in the standing, they're like all disorient. Well, that's how it ends. So, yep, Yuya Uemura has a brand new move in the arsenal, but using it called the High Fly Attack. I have to say, they're catchy. Now, our next match, we have Yado and Hiroshi Tanahashi teaming up. They take on the members of the War Dogs, more specifically Taiji Shimori and Gabe Kidd. Now, you can say this is a preliminary match between Kidd and Tanahashi due to the fact that Tanahashi was nominated as the challenger for the IWGP Global Championship. So you probably ask yourself that question. Now, in recent times, we have seen Tanahashi in other preliminary matches, picked up the win. But however, in this case, it was Ishimori who picked up the win with the bone cross onto Yado, and just like that, it was over. So they basically got the momentum on this one. Now our next match, we have TMDK, Hartley Jackson, Rohei Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. They take on Bolton Oatleg, Shota Umino, and Hiroki Goto. Now you can obviously say that this is another preliminary match due to the fact that Zack Sabre Jr. is the challenger for the IWGP World Heavyweight title, a title that he lost specifically to Goto. So the real question is who built up the momentum on this one. But in the end, it was what's his name? Umino with the Northern Light bomb onto, of course, Jackson, and just like that, he picked up the win. Now our next two matches are the co-main events. This is of course the G1 Climax 35 A block play-in match. So basically, whoever gets win, they'll get the open spot in the A block. We have Drilla Maloney and Tomohiro Ishii. Now we have seen Maloney take on Ishii before, and now this is a very critical match. I mean, Ishii has never won the G1, but however, he has participated, and this could be the first time he won't be able to participate. And I have to say, Drilla Maloney put every stop and everything he had in order to pick up the win. It took multiple times to apply the Drilla Killer onto Ishii, and then after that, when he finally applied it, 1, 2, 3, he took the open spot, and he is, in fact, in the G1. Now let's jump into the main event, which is also part of the G1 Climax 35 Block A and the Block B play-in. We have Cal Newman and Taichi. Now, Taichi, as you know, he has been in the G1 before, and this will be another opportunity where he may or may not be able to participate, which, of course, obviously is something to consider. But I have to say, another match where of course, both men tried to put the stops on each other. But in the end, it was Cal Newman who picked up the win with the Princess Curse. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, he is in the G1 in the B block. So basically, we are officially done with that. However, we do have 2 more open spots for both the A block and B block. So we may have to wait until that happens. So we're not that far off until the G1 begins. But until then, we'll see what happens from here on out. But for right now, we are officially done with our reviews. Let's move on with our last thing, which is news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin, as always, with upcoming events. Now, as you know, we have the GCW stuff, 2 updates on that front. The first one, as you know, we have the Boss of All Bosses that will take place on the 11th of July. There's going to be an I Quit match between KJ Orso, formerly known as Fuego del Sol, will take on Sam Stackhouse. So this is going to be a very intense match, which I'm sure everybody's going to be up their feet. And then, of course, on the beginning of August 1st at Rutherford, we have the hot hit 'em up. Elayna Black, formerly known as Cora Jade, will take on the Virtuosa, Diana Purrazzo. So that's going to be a really interesting matchup. Now, moving on, of course, for the upcoming events. Now, AAA has announced for their upcoming event on the 11th of July called Verano de Scandalo, or Escándalo, or in translation means the Summer Scandal. We have Hijo de Vikingo will be teaming up with his dad, King Vikingo, to take on El Patron Alberto and El Mesias. Now remember, guys, Vikingo faced off, of course, Alberto for the AAA Mega Championship, so you can guess how that's going to be. Now we do have, of course, the House of Glory Texas event on the 11th as well. The 6-way Cruiserweight Championship will be on the line. Infamous will defend it against Laredo Kid. Deadlock Pro Wrestling has their annual Tag Festival that will take place on the 13th of July. They announced a qualifying match for the Tag Fest. We have the Workhorsemen taking on Cowboy Way, consistent of Thomas Shire and one called Manders. Then we have Texas Promotion, by Texas Wrestling Cartel, Bite the Bullet on the 19th of July. They announced the Rhodes brothers, Dustin Rhodes' nephews, and Cody Rhodes' nephews, of course, will be in action to take on High Def. And then finally, Black Label Pro with Shots. On the 9th of August, they announced Shotzi Blackheart will participate, but her opponent will be none other than Young, Dumb, and Broke, Jordan Oliver. So that's going to be fun. Now, let's move on to some developments here. For those who are big Yoshi fans, you may or may not have heard about the most interesting developments that's been going on. Now, as you know, there's been wrestlers in the past that announced that they were leaving their respective promotions to go freelancing. Well, we have from GTO, Sumika Yanagawa, who in fact has announced that she'll have her final match. She'll be leaving GTO on the 31st of July, but her final match, her last match with DGTO, will be, of course, on the 11th of July. So basically, after that, she will be, of course, becoming a freelancer. That means she'll be working with various promotions. So this is a very interesting development happening. So we'll see. Don't know what else is going to be, but she actually announced this on her YouTube channel. She just started one now that she is going to be free from the GTO. So yeah, there's no specific whys she made the choice to leave. Hopefully we'll get an answer, but we'll see. New Japan has announced the signing of a brand new talent, but this talent has a very interesting reputation. Aaron Wolf, apparently he is a Olympic gold medalist who just signed with New Japan, and of course he will be making his debut on Wrestle Kingdom in the start of 2026. For those who may want to know what exactly did he won, he actually is the gold winner for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics and won the men's 100 kilogram judo. So yeah, so we don't know what's so basically that's what's gonna happen. So I'm pretty sure he'll be training throughout the rest of the year in order to make his debut. So that's gonna be interesting. And a very interesting coming up. There's been talk now, and it's been mentioned before, about having an AEW Women's Tag Team Championship. There's been talks about that for a while, but this one was revealed by Body Slam Net that it's been considering now to establish it, but however they haven't made the official when it will be debuted. So it's basically there's been talks that people will love to see this, including wrestlers within AEW. So I can't wait to see that. I mean, there's plenty of girls we could see. Brian Alvarez, see Mina Shirakawa and Tony Storm teaming up and winning it. I do see Ty J, Anna J, and Ty Mello teaming up for those. Tail Valkyrie and Deanna Purrazzo, that sort of thing. Megan Bain and Penelope Ford is 1-2. So we'll see how things will go from there. Now, Nixon Newell, many of you may know her as Tegan Nox back in NXT. Well, as you may have heard, some wrestlers started doing OnlyFans. Well, apparently now it's been announced that she's going to launch her own. So very surprising that they're going to do that. I mean, we know there's been certain wrestlers that have been successful doing the OnlyFans, but yeah, it's interesting. Now, interesting news coming up with Psycho Clown. Many of you may know him. He's one of the most popular wrestlers from AAA. Well, it's been announced that he will not be accepting any more indie bookings from August. Apparently, it's because he will be signing an exclusive with WWE. Now, there's been talk about having talent making their way to WWE recently. So this must be one of those wrestlers that will be making their way here to the States. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, Elayna Black, formerly known as Cora Jade, has recently talked about, of course, that she was very close in signing with AEW back in 2021. Yes, folks, you heard that straight. I remember before that, she was, of course, she made appearances in AEW in their dark shows during the time of Daily's Place until she made the move to, of course, to WWE, and this is what she said. I feel closer to signing AEW than WWE because I was doing dark. I was with friends with the Young Bucks, and I had people there that were close, and I was having fun there. I love AEW. I think I was going to end up there, but obviously I love WWE as well. I wanted to be in WWE one day, but I thought I was going to end up in AEW. WWE just ended up offering me a contract first. So this was information that she posted out on the Insight with Chris Van Vliet. I mean, yeah, there's been wrestlers that have talked about going to the AEW. Now, I'm not sure if there will be another opportunity which her going there, but we'll see. Now, an interesting thing for all of you, Chi Chi, who is one of the Yoshi wrestlers from Evolution, someone gave her a question that is a very interesting one. I think many of you would find interesting, and this was on, I think, on her IG live that she put out. Someone questioned her, Chi Chi, do you watch overseas pro wrestling? Do you have any favorite foreign wrestlers? She responded by saying, I do watch overseas pro wrestling. I do. My favorite foreign wrestlers are WWE's Trish Stratus and Kelly Kelly. Always have been because they are cute. It makes perfect sense about her, about Chi Chi, about the way she looks. I mean, she is cute, not gonna lie about that. But I feel like she might have got her that she was influenced by them. So that would make absolute sense on that. Now, Buddy Matthews, many of you may have heard, he was injured during, I believe, in Grand Slam Australia earlier this year, but apparently things are not looking well for him. Apparently, as you all know, he injured his ankle, and this is what he had to say on his IG Live. The ankle is not recovering well as I thought it would be. There is no mobility to it. If I can feel mobility, I can't move properly. Once I hit 3 months without healing, it becomes chronic. I thought I'd be back on track in April. Buddy Matthews. Now, should we be concerned over that? I would say possibly. I mean, look, not to make things as alarms. If he's not feeling anything on his ankle, that should be a problem. If I was him, I would definitely go to an actual specialist to check it out. But I'll keep you guys apprised of anything, if, of course, of his development on that. Now, many of you know this. I reviewed, of course, Stardom's recent pay-per-view, The Conversion. We had a surprise visit from Bozilla, who is now part of the Stardom roster as a member of Mi Vida Loca. Now, some of you may question, how did this thing happen? Well, Suzu kind of went on and talked about this, and this is what she said. Of course, I knew about Bozilla. With a massive frame and her human weapon-like style, I won't say where, but I felt like she looked somewhat stiff in her matches, but at GCW, she looked so alive, and I thought it would be such a waste to keep her tied down. So I hit her up on Facebook. So yeah. So basically, she had seen her at GCW, and she was impressed by her, but she felt like she wanted to do more. Now, we know Rossi mentioned recently that he hopes that she would go to WWE. We haven't heard anything about that, if WWE had any interest in her. That's one of the things. But if that was the case, yeah. But I don't know what Rossi would feel about her now going to Stardom. That's one of the things we don't know. But she also said that she has high hopes for Bozilla's success in Stardom, and this is what she had to say. To have the level of a potential and presence at 21, she's a rare talent. We're putting our lives on the line in our matches, so isn't a waste to get held back by adult politics or narrow perspective. The NVL is about to go wild, which is Mi Vida Loca, without being hounded by anything. We're not babysit or heels. We're new categories of called natural. So yes, so basically she sees a lot of potential in her, and she sees what she can do. She feels that deep down maybe she was being held down. I'm not sure about that. We know that she was recommended to go to Mighty Gold due to, of course, her connection with Alpha Female. Many of you may know her. She was the second champion for the World of Stardom Championship, who defeated Nana Takahashi for that belt. So I don't know what she would think either about her going to Stardom. We know that there's been some wrestlers that felt that Stardom lost its ways, but I'm not sure what Rossi makes of this, of her making this decision to go to Stardom, but we'll just have to wait and see what they have to say. But as of right now, we'll leave things as it is, and let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we will continue with more with New Japan Pro Wrestling, with New Japan Soul, but we do have more with NXT happening, so a lot of things is going to happen. Now, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do any more reviews before then, but we'll see how things will roll up. So, but the priority, in my opinion, will be mostly from New Japan and NXT. So we'll see how things will go, and if things go well as I plan, I'll probably finish off the remaining Sendai Girl events so I can catch up with every last one of them. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang!